What's up, church? Hey, welcome to Baptism Weekend. Who's ready to party? Come on, anybody? People in the back? I love it. I know some of you are like, I just came for the free shirt, man. That's why I'm here. Listen, I don't care if you came for the free shirt. I am just psyched you're here because this is our 8th annual baptism party weekend. We've been dunking people for Jesus for 8 years. And having people getting louder than the Eagles stadium when the Eagles score a touchdown. Wait. Do the Eagles score touchdowns? Listen, I know. It's the Cowboys who don't score touchdowns, right? That's right? So, anyway, I'm so psyched that you all are here. Where are the Eagles fans? We can show them some love. There they are. They're always here. Always. But you know who's not always here is our online family. And today I want to give a shout out to Meg from Connecticut. And Meg is one of our OG onliners, one of our very first onliners. And this week Meg sent me a video and it was super good. And you want to see it? Yeah. All right, let's show Meg's video.
Hi, my name is Meg. I'm from Connecticut. I'm part of the online family. I drove down from Connecticut in 2017 to get baptized. Welcome to Baptism Party Sunday.
What? Isn't that insane? Meg drove from Connecticut to get baptized. Some of you woke up in Long Neck this morning. And you're like, I don't know if I want to get on the route, like Route 24, you know. Anyway, Meg is watching right now from Connecticut. And so can we show some love to Meg and all of our online family? Yeah. Thanks for tuning in. Hey, listen, I don't want to oversell this, but this, like today, right now, this is probably my favorite Sunday of the year. It really is, all right? And I'm so excited about today, and I'm going to just let you know right out of the gate, I'm going to show you all my cards. My goal is to baptize you today. I'm looking at some of you like Michael Jordan looks like out of basketball. Like I'm going to dunk some people. And some of you don't know it yet, but you are going in the Bay Shore Olympic pool today, all right? You are getting in our hot tub today. So I need everybody to tell 3 people, the pastor made Michael Jordan dunk you today. Just go ahead and tell 3 people. All right, let's bring it back. Hey, I'm curious. Who's never been to one of our baptism parties before? Like, you're new to the party. You're new to the party? Wow. A lot of you people. All right, I know what you're thinking right now. A lot of you are like, the pastor is talking about Michael Jordan dunking people, and I'm in a basement, and people are supposed to get louder than the Eagles stadium, and then we're going to celebrate with mint chocolate chip ice cream afterwards. Like, this is the weirdest church I've ever been to. But by the way, one more time, where are the mint chocolate chip ice cream people? And you're the real weirdos, okay? That's who. No, but listen, maybe this is like your first time at our Bay Shore baptism party, and this sounds weird to you. And listen, church is confusing. I know this because when I was a kid, the church I went to was Bay Shore back in the day, but it was Governor Fellowship Church, and we had pews. You guys remember pews? Yeah, and we had red pews, like 80s red, Trans Am red, bright red, all right? And so we always sat in the front row, front pew with my mom, and the worship leader, her name was Miss Lynn. And Miss Lynn would get into it. And she would get so into it that she was a sweater. I don't mean she wore a sweater. I mean, she was a sweater. Like, she could have been on the cover of all the Dancing to the 80s or Sweating to the 80s VHS tapes, sweater. And I was a little kid, and it was always like kind of like weird to me because her main sweat zone was like in between her nose and her upper lip. Like, she had a sweat mustache, you know what I'm saying? And I'd never seen anybody sweat there, all right? And so that was confusing to me, but it got really confusing because in the middle of the song, sometimes Miss Lynn would have a question. And all of a sudden, like, I know she had a question because all of a sudden in the middle of the song, she would go like this. And I was confused, all right, because I didn't know what she was doing, and like her eyes were closed, and she had a sweat mustache, and like I was like, if her eyes are closed, she won't be able to see if somebody answers her question. So I remember I would be like, Mom, why is Miss Lynn, is anybody going to answer her question? And Mom was like, no, she's just worshiping, honey. I was like, and that was confusing to me. And then I'll look behind me, and there were other people who had questions in church too. Some people did what Miss Lynn did. Some people did the Shawshank Redemption. There's always that one guy who looked like he was carrying a stolen TV. He was like... And I remember getting so confused. And then Miss Lynn would get done like singing the song and, doing the music thing. And then my dad was preacher. So he would get up on the stage. And when my dad would say something important, everybody at church would go, mmm. And that confused me too. I'm like, Mom, why is everybody mooing? And my mom was like, no, honey, they're not mooing. They just like agree with what your dad is saying. And like when some people say, that's how like some former Baptists say amen. I love the tenseness. So anyway, my point is like I remember being so confused when I was in church, and maybe you're confused about baptism, and that's okay. Listen, I get it. Church can be confusing, and baptism isn't confusing because people like you just don't get it. Baptism is confusing because people like me don't always do a good job of explaining it, which is why every single year we throw a baptism party, and I pretty much give the exact same message every year. And I know some of you are like, oh, great. I can't wait till he's done with this one so we don't have to hear it again for another year. But listen, the reason I give the same message is because I want it to be like crystal clear to you all. And I'm so psyched about today because for a lot of you, baptism is your next step. It really is. I know this because did you know that 46 people have said yes to Jesus in our basement this year? This year, 46 people. And so if you're a Jesus follower and you've never been baptized, it's your next step. And so let me explain baptism this way. A few weeks ago, I took my kids to my in-laws to go camping. Now, I told you a few weeks ago, I don't camp. Now, how many people you do camp? You camp? Campers? Okay, campers. Yeah, we got some campers. You can listen. I'm not going to make fun of you. You do you, Bear Grylls, okay? But here's why I don't camp, and it's really, really simple, okay? I don't like to camp because I have a house. You know, like having a house and going camping, it's kind of like owning a Lamborghini and saying, I want to ride the donkey to work today. It just doesn't make sense to me. I'm glad it makes sense to some of you all. So I took my kids to go camping. I dropped them off. And listen, parents, I had the rest of the day all by myself. Come on, parents. Can I get an amen or a cow moo or something? Woo! Listen. So you know what I did is I spent the day at our neighborhood pool. Come on, somebody. And listen, you guys know I love my kids. I love my kids. But it cannot be overstated how much better going to the pool is without your children. I didn't have to break up any fights. My kids didn't lay any bloated, dead frogs that got out of the skimmer on my chest. My daughter didn't yell, hey, Daddy, Nixon peed in the pool in front of 37 of our neighbors. Like, totally peaceful. It was wonderful. It was wonderful. And there wasn't many people at the pool, so there's, just all these open space. And, like, I like my own space. So I got my lounger and set up, like, loungers beside me like it's buffer zones, you know what I'm saying? All the introverts know what I'm saying. Anyway. And so, no lie, I'm sitting there, got all the space. These 4 older ladies come in the pool area. And I don't want to say how old they are because I don't want to offend anybody. But let's just say that their favorite candy was Werther's Original. Like they were vintage, okay? They were... True story. These 4 Werther Original fan ladies came and sat in the 4 loungers right beside me. And one of the ladies said, we're going to sit next to this nice man. And then I heard another one go, I am not lying. And I don't want to presume anything, but I don't think she was talking about a Werther's Original, okay? And so they're like 2 feet away from me. You know, one's making a cow moo. I'm a happily married man, and so no lie, I got up and I moved. True story. All 4 of the ladies drugged their loungers. Sat right beside me. I'm like, you are cougar boomer stalkers. That's what these are. No lie, I moved again. I left the Werther's Original aisle, okay? Because listen, I'm a married man, and they followed me a 3rd time. I'm like, I need to call the cops. Or so, I'm like, can't they see my wedding ring? And then I look down, and I'm like, oh no. I didn't have my wedding ring on. And apparently, I had taken it off like a day before when I had gone surfing, so it was in my car. So now, there's cougar boomer stalkers on the loose with Werther's Originals stuffed all over the place. And they're chasing me around the pool. And so I prayed. I was like, Lord, I need a miracle, or I need cougar mace, or I need a coupon book to distract these old ladies with. True story. The Lord answered my prayer because right then, no, this is true. I see my smoking hot wife come through the pool gate because she got off of work early, and she is wearing my very favorite bathing suit. So I was like, And the cougar boomer stalkers were, well, I don't know what they were doing, all right? I was just checking out my wife, all right? And we don't do like the PDA thing much, but I was like trying to show these ladies, I'm like, honey, let's make out right now, and don't worry about these little old ladies that are sitting on top of us, all right? But listen, I love my wedding ring. And the reason I love my wedding ring is because it says, hey, I am with my smoking hot, red hot smoking wife. Like we are together. And this also says, and this is a miracle, she's also with me, which is amazing. And just like this wedding ring says, I'm with Stacy, I'm with her, baptism says, I'm with Jesus, I'm a Jesus follower. Just like this ring reminds me of a decision I made 14 years ago when I said yes to my wife. Baptism reminds us of the decision we made when we said yes to Jesus. That's baptism. It is your identity as a Jesus follower. It's your wedding ring as a Jesus follower, okay? And so, speaking of Jesus, did you know Jesus was baptized? Come on, who knew it? Who knew Jesus was baptized? Who knew it was the very first thing he did before he did any miracles? It was the first thing he ever did. Listen, before he did that miracle at the wedding where he took 6 giant jugs of water and turned it into 1,000 bottles of wine. How many of you wish you were at that wedding? You all need to get baptized today, okay? Before he did that, Jesus was baptized. Why? Because baptism is your first step as a Jesus follower. So I just thought I'd show you Jesus' baptism. This is in Matthew chapter 3, starting in verse 13. It says this, then Jesus went from the Galilee to the Jordan River to be what? Baptized by John. Now, question. When you love someone, isn't it true that what's important to them eventually becomes important to you? Like in general? Let me explain. When Stacy and I got married, this is kind of how our relationship went in a nutshell. Stacy and Joel sitting in a tree. Kissing. First came love, then came marriage, then Stacy wanted a teacup Yorkie dog. That's how the song went for us. And listen, when Stacy and I first got married, we didn't have any money, all right? We were the people who, we ate cereal with a fork just to save on milk, you know what I'm saying? Anyway, And then so we didn't have any money. And so it's not that when we first got married that I didn't want a dog. It's just that I knew if we got a dog, we'd all be eating dog food, all of us. And in 2007, a teacup Yorkie cost $800. If you adjust for inflation, $73,213, okay? And so we didn't have $800. And so we were so poor, we got an off-brand dog. And so we have a picture of what we got. This is Eli. He's a Chiweenie, which is a Dachshund Chihuahua mix, also called on the internet a Mexican hot dog. That's for real. Anyway, so before we got this little Chiweenie, I was like, Stacy, listen, we can get a dog, but the dog is not sleeping in our bed. I will not put people clothes on any dog. And if a Chiweenie starts dropping little Chiweenies all over my living room, I will FedEx him somewhere else. True story. We had this guy for one night. He was in our laundry room because he's not sleeping in my bed. I'm a man. He started crying in the laundry room. I was like, honey, how about just for one night we let him sleep in our bed? Listen, for 14 years, I have been spooning with this Chiweenie. I dress him up happily. He has this little camouflage Snuggie I put on him this week. Or wasn't that called? Look at this. Is not that the greatest picture you've ever seen? I can't tell you how many Chiweenies he's dropped on my living room floor that I picked up. And the reason why I pick them up is because I love my dog more than I love most people. Come on, dog people, you know what I'm saying? And so I love Stacy, and because the dog was important to Stacy, eventually that dog became important to me. And if we're going to call ourselves Jesus followers, what's important to Jesus has to become important to us. And baptism was definitely important to Jesus. So let's go back to that verse. Yeah, it's already on the screen. I'll show you why baptism was important to Jesus. It says, then Jesus went from where? To be baptized by John. Now, I'm going to play a little game. You guys want to play a little Bible trivia? I'm going to see who's been paying attention to the last 8 baptism parties. How far was the walkable route that Jesus took from the Galilee to the Jordan River? I'll give you within 60-mile margin.
60 miles.
There you go. I just tried to tip you off. This is a 60-mile. The walkable route from Galilee to the Jordan is 60 miles. Now, 60 miles is kind of funny to me because when Stacy was pregnant with our daughter, Nora, she discovered that there was a Chipotle in Salisbury. Now, this is the first Chipotle that really came around here. Now, I like Chipotle. Who likes Chipotle? You like Chipotle? I like it especially when someone else is paying. That's when I'm like, yeah, put that guac on there. Otherwise, no. Okay. But guys, nobody likes Chipotle as much as pregnant Stacy likes Chipotle. Because she would leave our house in Millsboro and drive all the way to Salisbury like once a week for an $8 burrito. And that trip, I Google mapped it this week, it's 60 miles. It's an hour and a half on the road driving a car, all right? Now, and like once a week, Stacey would be like, hey, honey. It'd be like Monday, like, hey, I'm going to go get a burrito. I'll see you on Wednesday. And she was gone, man. Now, I wanted to tell her, like, honey, it's like $63 in gas round trip. But Stacey was pregnant, and there's one life rule. You do not mess with a pregnant woman. Am I right? I wouldn't drive 60 miles for a Chipotle burrito, but Stacey would drive 60 miles because she loved the Chipotle burrito. Listen, Jesus walked 60 miles in sandals, in Old Navy flip-flops, y'all, to be baptized. Question, do you think baptism was important to Jesus? Yes, darn right. Listen, if after church today I was like, hey, anybody want to take a walk with me over to the Chipotle at the outlets? How many of you will be like, I ain't walk? I'll walk down 23 stairs to get in this church. I'll Uber. Come on, who isn't walking to this one right over here? I mean, what, one person, me and you, Jerry, I'm not walking. I turned 40 this year. I ain't walking. So like, But Jesus walked 60 miles to get baptized. Meg drove from Connecticut to be baptized. I'm just asking, would you walk 60 feet in a room full of cheering people to be baptized today? That's all I'm asking. And listen, you can do it because I've been praying all week that you could do it. So Jesus walks 60 miles. He sees his cousin John. He's like, Cousin John, I want you to baptize me. And so here's where we pick up in the next verse 14. But John tried to what? Wait, Jesus' own cousin is trying to talk Jesus out of getting baptized. Is this what's happening? I bet you if Jesus' cousin is trying to talk him out of getting baptized, you're probably trying to talk yourself out of getting baptized right now, right? Right? Come on, give me a little pinky, a little wink. And so I came up this week with, and we'll put this on the screen, the top 3 reasons you're thinking, I don't need to get baptized today. Reason number 1, I'm scared. Come on, listen. And maybe you're scared. And maybe you're scared to get baptized because you saw the same baptism video on YouTube that I saw this week. You want to see the video I saw this week on YouTube? All right, you asked for it. All right, so let's just go ahead and play this video. This could be you. Uh-oh. Who just thought you were witnessing a murder right then? Like, it's just, oh my gosh. Now, if you had an all-night rager in Dewey last night, we may need to do this for you, okay? But listen, maybe you're scared of getting baptized, all right? I got great news for you. At Bay Shore, we have a 1-second dunk policy. And I've been working on my dunk speeds for the last 8 years. And I've been in training camp for the last year. I'm just happy to tell you, I got it down to a second. Listen, nobody's ever drowned in our baptismal. Yet. Someone said yet. We've never had a shark attack in our baptismal, okay? But I say this every year, I feel like if you die in the baptistry, I feel like you go straight to heaven, you get all the heavenly perks. You know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure Billy Graham is your personal butler, all right? He just feeds you mozzarella sticks. I think it's in the Bible. I don't know. But listen, maybe you're scared of getting in front of people. And I totally get that. But I just want you to know that these people are not here to judge you. These people are here to cheer for you. Come on, can we show them, church, that we're here to cheer for them? We're here to get it on for you. Like, this is your fan base. And so they're here to cheer for you. Now, you might say, yeah, but baptism is so public. And I'm a private person, and my faith it's personal. And I want to say this with 100% love, and I agree with you. Your faith is personal, but faith is never private. And I'm so glad that Jesus was willing to publicly go on a cross for me. Anybody else? I'm so thankful for that. And so you don't have to be afraid, all right? You're going to make it out of this baptistry, I promise you. Second reason that we don't get baptized is we say, I think I need to get my life together before I get baptized. Can we all laugh at this together on 3? Just like 1, 2, 3. You don't need to get your life together first. Listen, do you know who your pastor is? This last week, I was having a good day. I woke up on the right side of the bed one day. All right, did that ever happen to you? Like, you wake up on the right side of the bed, you think you are James Brown. You're like, I feel good. I had that day, man. I was feeling good. I got changed. I combed my hair. Just seeing who's paying attention. Anyway, but I was feeling good, and I'm like singing James Brown in my head. I opened up my bedroom door, and I stepped into my hallway, and I heard this sound. I think we got the sound. I just stepped in the hallway. Here it comes. Maybe not. Oh. I'm like, what in the world? And I feel like I'm stepping in Swamp Thing. I stepped into some water. I looked down, and my dog Eli had sprung a leak. And my dog is little, but this was a huge leak. And listen, I know I'm a pastor, but the words I said in my head right here when I stepped in that mess, if I were to say them out loud, the rap community would be like, that's messed up. And that was me on a good day. Listen, you don't have to have your life together before you get baptized. Like saying you got to get cleaned up before you get baptized is kind of like saying I got to get cleaned up before I take a bath. Baptism isn't about cleaning up. Baptism is about standing up for the one who is cleaning you up. And so you're all good on this front, okay? The next thing is this. Number 3, we sometimes say, I was already baptized as a baby, so I don't think I need to do it again. Now, I'm curious. I always like to ask this question. How many of you were baptized as a baby? Hands up if you were baptized as a baby. Keep them up. Look at this. It's amazing. Ton of people baptized as a baby. Okay, hands down. How many of you remember your baptism as a baby? No, that's nobody. But you saw the pictures, right? You know what happened? And in the pictures, your parents like dressed you up and they took you to church and some strange guy like me in a robe flicked water in your face. And you cried while your parents smiled and your uncle took a picture of it. Which is why we all need therapy. Isn't that why? And then they held a big family dinner in your honor and everybody ate Watergate salad. Ooh. Listen, I'm not here to take anything away from that. Listen, that was an amazing moment for your parents. Because your parents just prayed, man, I want my kid to follow Jesus. All right, but question, let's play one more Bible game. There are 27 references to baptism in the Bible. How many of those do you think had to do with a baby? Zero. Not even one. And I think the reason is because parents can't pick your kid's team for you. You know what I'm saying? Now, you guys know a lot about me. Let's see how much you know about me. My favorite thing to drink is what? This is a church that knows a pastor. My favorite football team is? The Ravens. The Eagles fans are trying to sway me right now. Listen, Mountain Dew and the Ravens. And my kids know in my house, number 1, they cannot drink my Mountain Dew. And number 2, they must root for the Ravens. It's just the rule. And so 2 years ago, or a couple years ago at least, I was sitting on the couch and I'm watching the Ravens game with my boy Nixon. And so I'm like, hey, Nix, who's your team, bud? And Nix is like, the Ravens, Daddy. And I'm like, yeah, that's my boy. And I'm having like that moment. And then I'm looking away and I hear Nixon say, also the Eagles. I'm like, have you been hanging out with MJ's dad again? Listen, you are not going over to MJ's anymore, your friend. I learned that day, I cannot pick my kid's team for him. Now, I'm going to try, believe that. I'm going to try. But when it comes to following Jesus, your parents can't choose Jesus for you. Which is why, for us, we ask that you're 10 years old or older before you're baptized, because we want you to have like the ability to make that decision yourself. And so that's kind of why we handle baptism that way. And so today, you might be saying, well, I can't get baptized because like my parents, had me baptized as a baby and it would be disrespecting them. Number 1, that was a dedication. They were dedicating you to Jesus. And number 2, if you're baptized today, that won't be disrespecting your parents. It'll be fulfilling what they prayed for you on that day in the first place. And so today, you can choose to follow the one that your parents prayed that day that you would choose to follow. So that's a really, really big deal. So 3 reasons why we try to talk ourselves out of it. Now, some of you are trying to talk yourself into it. Some of you are like, here's one. Sometimes we're like, I've been baptized before as an adult, but I feel like I should do it again. Like you dunked me last year, Pastor Joel, but it didn't work. Can you like do it again and like hold me down a little bit, like scrub the bottom of the baptistry with my back? Listen, aren't you glad that you don't have to be re-saved and rebaptized every single time you sin and mess up? Is anybody glad about that? Because I sure am glad about that. I said this before, but if that were the case, we'd have to open like a 24/7 baptism drive-through window at the church. We'd be like the Taco Bell, and I'd be the person working the window. I would never get to go home. And I just have to stay up there in the middle of the night like, oh, hey, Sister Susie, it's you again? Or were you waving at people with one finger on Route 24 again? Is that? You know the drill. Hold your breath. Next, and she just goes around and comes right back around. Well, I'm going to cut your finger off, Sister Susie. But listen, if you've been baptized since you chose to follow Jesus, you're done. You don't have to do it again. Now, if you're here and you're like, you want to start your relationship with Jesus again, and you kind of want to get baptized as a fresh start, I'm not going to stop you from being baptized, but I just don't want anybody to feel some sort of false guilt that you need to get baptized if you've already been baptized, since you're old enough to choose that for yourself. And so let's go back to the story. Jesus walked 60 miles to get baptized. His cousin tries to talk him out of it, just like we kind of try to talk ourselves out of it. But Jesus is determined to get dunked. All right, so this is what happens in verse 15. But Jesus said to John, it should be done. The old King James Version says this, let it be so now. I like that. Kind of sounds like a Yoda quote. Let it be so now. Anyway. Jesus, like John's trying to talk him out of it. He's like, let it be so now, for we must carry out all that God requires. And so John agreed to baptize him. Now, I'm an 80s kid. And any 80s kids in the room? Anybody like born in the 80s or like grew up in the 80s? Few of us. Listen, I think we kind of have the best decade. I do. Okay, listen. In the 80s, MTV came out. I remember seeing a music video for Guns N' Roses for the first time, and I'm like, oh man, I hope my parents don't walk in. In the 80s, the best movie trilogy of all time came out, Back to the Future. In the 80s, we had the greatest toys, by far, all right? Like, we'll put a couple of these on the screen. We had the Teddy Ruxpin. Come on, remember Teddy? He'd sit in your closet in the middle of the night, his eyes would start glowing, he'd start talking at you. Creepy. But we had Teddy. We had this, the Light Bright. Oh, man. I got one of these on Christmas. It never looked like that, okay, ever. And then every 80s kid had one of these. Woo! Come on, listen. How many of you ran all your life decisions through the Magic 8 Ball in the 80s? Yeah, we're like, are the Orioles going to win today? Nope. This is accurate, all right? Everything. Like, am I going to get a girlfriend in 4th grade? Not a chance. Well, that's kind of hurtful. And the 80s had the best toys. Nowadays, kids, they don't want a Magic 8 Ball. They want like a virtual reality headset so they can build a house in the metaverse. Listen, we didn't have the metaverse. We had Kool-Aid. And we had a Magic 8 Ball. All right, how many of you ran some life decisions through the Magic 8 Ball? Come on, be honest. We have some questions. And this thing, you can ask this thing questions. Now, let me tell you some of Jesus' followers, one of the most popular questions Jesus' followers like to ask. And we'll put this on the screen. What's God's will for my life? How many of you have thought this question, asked this question, talked to the Magic 8 Ball about this question? How many of you wondered what God's will is for your life? Yeah. We're like, should I marry her? No. Well, she's pretty. Should I marry her? She ain't that pretty. Wow, that's... Is it God's will for me to quit my job? Yes. Woo! If I quit my job, can I still get groceries at the Whole Foods? No, you're going to Aldi. Okay. Listen, maybe right now you're wondering what God's will is for your life. And so just kind of keep that in mind. And let's relook at verse 15 one more time. It says, but Jesus said, we must carry out all that God requires. Talking about baptism. And so John agreed to baptize him. And I came to church today to tell somebody that God's will for every Jesus follower, every single Jesus follower is to be baptized and publicly say, I am a Jesus follower. You don't have to grab the Magic 8 Ball and be like, God, is it your will that I get baptized today? Let me just do it for you. Is it God's will for me to get baptized today? Yes. Wait, let's do it again. Is it God's will for me to get baptized today? Yes. Is it God's will for me to get baptized today? 1,000,000,000% yes. Listen, you don't have to ask the Magic 8 Ball if it's God's will for you to be baptized today. If you're a Jesus follower and you haven't been baptized before, you don't have to go home and pray about it first. You don't have to ask Dr. Fauci about it. It is God's will. for every Jesus follower to be baptized. And so if you said, let me say this, if you said yes to Jesus, you're in. You're going to heaven. You're in the family. Can I get us some air high fives? Because you're in the family. You're going. But even though you're in family, God wants us to identify ourselves with him. And baptism is the way that we identify with Jesus. Let me tell you this real quick story, and then we're going to get this baptism party started. I told you this a couple years ago, but Nixon started kindergarten 2 years ago at Lower Baltimore. And my wife, she goes to work at like 6 in the morning. So she's out the door and gone, which means I'm the one who gets my kids ready and on the bus. So if you think about it around 6 in the morning sometimes, just pray for my kids' fashion sense and whatever. And so 2 years ago, it was Nixon's first year of school. I'm getting his clothes on the best I can. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm just throwing his flip-flops on. It's first week of school. It's warm, shorts, all the stuff. And I get my boy Nixon on the bus. And I went for a run as soon as the bus picked up Nixon. And when I got back from my run, I picked up my phone. And I had like 17 missed calls from the school. I had 3 voicemails. I had 2 texts from the school counselor, a text from his teacher. I think there was an APB out from the police for me. And so I'm freaking out because I got all these calls from the school. So I called the school. I'm like, I'm Nixon's dad. Is everything okay? And the lady said, not really. So I'm like, oh my gosh, like, is he alive? Is he hurt? Like, what? And she said, today, Nixon showed up to school in illegal flip-flops. If I'm lying, I'm dying. Illegal flip-flops. And she said, Dad? And I'm like, Dad? She said, Dad, don't you know our school's flip-flop policy? I'm like, no, I don't. No dad in the history of dad knows the school flip-flop policy. It's just a good thing he got on the bus today. Thank me for that. I don't know. And she said, you need to bring over legal shoes right now. And I'm like, nah. Anyway, so I get in my car, I bolt to the school. I'm still sweating from running. I'm running up to the door. I have shoes with me. Are they legal? I don't know. I don't know what a legal shoe is and what an illegal shoe is. I don't know. I go to the door, but you can't walk into schools nowadays. It's all locked up. It's all secured. And so, like, I pull on the door, and it's locked. And so I start beating on the door because I'm pretty sure they're beating on my kid in there because there's illegal shoes. So I'm like, let me in. And the security guard busts out. And he says, hey, who are you? What's in your hand? Identify yourself. I'm like, I'm Nixon's dad? He's like, oh, you're Nixon's dad. It was a bad morning, all right? Anyway, but me and Nixon were family. That guy just wanted me to identify myself, right? And if you're a Jesus follower, you're in the family. But God wants you to identify yourself. That's God's will for every Jesus follower, and baptism is the way that we identify ourselves as Jesus followers. Now, I didn't give you the main reason that people say they don't get baptized when they come on Baptism Sunday, and so we'll put this on the screen for our last one. The main reason we hear every year is I didn't come ready to be baptized. Well, I got good news, because we came ready for you to be baptized today. And so Kirsty's going to come up here. Kirsty, can you come up here? And can you guys give Kirsty a hand as she comes up on the stage? Kirsty has a bag of all the things that you're going to get if you choose to get baptized today. All right. And this is your first baptism party Sunday here, right? Came on Mother's Day, having a baptism party here today. So if you choose to get baptized today, you are going to get one of these shirts that me and Kirsty are modeling right now. Can we do one of those? No, it's okay. It's okay. But you came to church, you're getting 2 shirts today. Listen, this is the greatest day of your life. We got a t-shirt for you. Next, since we're Michael Jordan dunking you, we got you some Michael Jordan shorts. So you're getting a whole wardrobe when you came to church today, so that's good. We got some shorts for you out there in the lobby. We have towels, all right? So if you're like, I don't want to, get my car all wet, we got towels, woohoo! And they were freshly washed. The linen's flying everywhere. We have, maybe you have a nice car, and you're like, yeah, I don't want to get my car seat wet. Listen, which isn't the case for us. This is true. This week, we found in Stacy in the back seat of her car, and the cup holder, we found like a whole thing of mystery brown juice. So this doesn't apply to our car. But anyway, Maybe you have a nice car without the mystery brown juice in the cup holder. I don't know. But we have trash bags that you can lay out on your seat with your towel on the way home. So we got that covered. And then maybe you're like, I have my wallet on me. I don't really, if I get baptized, I don't want to like set it on the seat because these people in this church look sketchy. They are, mainly the Eagles fans. Anyway. But we have a Ziploc baggie in there. So listen, I will baptize your visa. Okay. So you just float away. Listen, we got it all covered. If that bag starts leaking, can you spot me for lunch, Kirsty? But listen, we got all the stuff you need. We got this bag. You can put all your wet stuff in when you leave. There is no reason that you can't get baptized today. We got it all covered. Now, didn't Kirsty do a good job up here? You did a good job. How about you get this party started, Kirsty? How about we do your baptism first? How about we do that? All right. So Kirsty this week shared her story with us through video. And so let's roll this video and then we're going to get this party started with Kirsty.
My name is Kirsty. I'm 28 years old. I have 2 little boys, a 7-year-old and a 2-year-old. And I've been with their father for 10 years. 8 of those 10 years, we don't argue. We have been through a lot together between the 2 of us. But the arguing got to the point where it just wasn't stopping. I'm like, okay, this is not happening. We just need to stop. We need to take a break. We need to reevaluate. And he said the same thing. We need to figure out this is what we want because this cannot happen. I had moved back home to my parents' house. He was at his parents' house. I was sad. I was disappointed in myself. I felt like I was not being a good mom. I was not being a good partner, a sister, a daughter, a friend. I felt like I had nobody. Everything was kind of like happening at one time for me. There was no focus on anything else. So it was like a rut I was in for the longest time. It was a week before Mother's Day. It was at my old job. I had been miserable there for a really long time. So it was just another crappy day at work. And like I said, I was just not in a good headspace. And I had reached out to Kristen maybe a year before. It had been some time before. And I never really followed through. I was like, you know what, this time I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna do this. I need to better my relationship with him because at this point, he's all I have. I wanted to be a better version of me. And I felt like the only way that I was going to do that is by putting my faith in him and putting my trust in him and just letting him take control. It was Mother's Day. My mom came with me. They did the thing for Lindsay. Then I cried like a baby. I've never seen a church or heard about a church doing something like that. To help her out as much as you guys did, that was just awesome and it was heartwarming. And I was like, I want to be a part of that. And then now I sit like 3 rows back. I'm there early every Sunday for the most part. I'm helping Kristen now with, the kids. My kids are involved. My 2-year-old, he loves going to church. Miss Patsy's his favorite. My oldest, over the summer, him and another little boy, they were talking about what they did at VBS together. That is enough for me to stay, to say I love this church. It's a family and everybody's accepting no matter what. In the last 6 months, I've done more changing than I did in the last 4.5 years. I will read a chapter and I will do my devotions and I do it every night. Now it's looking like a family that's together, that's happy and healthy. Getting baptized today means that I'm coming full circle in my journey. Still gonna make mistakes, and no matter how many times I mess up, no matter how many times I have to restart, I'm following him, and my faith is in him, and he has me. I'm putting all of my faith in him by doing this, and in return, I will get all of him.
Get a step right here, and then another step. There you go. There you go. Kirsty, you came on Mother's Day because Kristen invited you. Now you're in the pool. Yeah, you got one more step down there. You can go ahead and take a seat. There you go. First baptism, a baptism party 2022. Come on, let's show Kirsty some love. I'm so proud of you for doing this. And I know you have your family with you right over here, and just amazing what's happened to you guys in your life in just 4 or 5 months. And for you to just say, I'm reading my Bible and I'm writing stuff down and I'm learning, it's really cool. And you're wearing this shirt that says, made new, because the Bible says that when we become a Jesus follower, we're a new creation. And so when you made that decision for yourself, you're a new creation. And this just highlights that you made that decision. And so before you get baptized, every year we like to have people say, hey, my name is, and then that you're a Jesus follower. And so if you would say that, and then we'll baptize you.
My name is Kirsty, and I am a Jesus follower.
Kirsty, it's my honor to baptize you in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. So proud of you, Kirsty.